What's going on? Been a little busy. Sorry, that's why I haven't been on here as consistently as I would like, but I'm back to it now. Let's dive in and see what's going on in the market. All right, so first thing that we see, we're still respecting our trend lines here on SPX, SPX, SPY, pretty much the same thing. I prefer to trade SPX because it moves a little smoother and better for me to SPY, but it is a little more expensive. But if we go over to SPY, you're going to pretty much see the same thing, right? We're still respecting the same type of a trend line here. As you can see, why do I say we're respecting it? Well, we got a touch here and we bounced. We got a touch here and we bounced. We got a wick touch here and we bounced. We're respecting this trend line. As you can see, these double tops were already expected. I think we talked about these a couple weeks ago. Just we're waiting on the shoe to drop on these things, but they played out like they should. Top of the trend line, top of the supply zone, top of the trend line, top of the supply zone. What do we wait for? Dun, 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 dun. You guessed it. We wait for breaks and retests. So if we zoom in here, we are going to see. Look at this. We had a break above, right up in here, came down, retested with this wick here, and lost. Break above, came down, retested with this wick here, and lost. Break above, came down, retested here, and lost. All we wait for a break and retest to get into our trades. We don't overcomplicate it at all. Right now, where are we at on SPY? So we lost. Now, this is the opposite. If I flip my chart, it'll be the same thing. You see this? This right here would be the break here. Then this right here is the retest, and then we push back up. So on a trade like this, since we're respecting our trend lines, soon as we see this wick form here, this is where we're getting in our trades. We get into our wicks. When we see them pushing up, we get into our trade. Stop loss to save you in case it goes against you. Keep the stop loss tight. Or if you're a safer trader, you wait till the wick gets above your trend line here. But even if we waited here, a 685, 60 something, 685, 70 something, up to 688.50. It may not seem like that's a lot, but that is a good move for SPY, 0.002% or something like that. SPY only moves about 0.05 per day or less. So unless it's a crazy day. So that's still a good move here. Even if you pushed it out a couple of weeks, you're still getting about 5 or 10% on that play, which is a good play. Anything that's beating a high yield savings account is a good play. So I would expect, since we're caught that bounce off of the 4 hour, I would expect for this to continue to push up. But what do we got to do? We got to also check the VIX, right? Here we go. VIX, breakout, retest, lost. As long as this VIX pulls back down around to this area, we're going to see SPY push on up out of where we are right now. SPY, SPX, all that's going to push up as long as the VIX falls down. So here's a quick little cheat that you can do. Let me move this out of the way. How do I move this thing? All right. All right, this right here is a VIX oscillator, right? Indicator, called a VIX and VIX indicator, right? So all you do is do the VIX indicator and you set it as a new pane, right? Not an overlay, as a new pane. So that way you can clearly see down here when the VIX is curling up, expect the SPY to start pumping, right? When we're pushing up here, that means, I'm sorry, when the VIX is going up higher, expect the SPY to come down. When the VIX starts to curl down, you can expect SPY to start pushing up. So that's what we do here. We're just going to wait for those things to inverse. And once that happens, we know to get into our trades. That's what I see there. Let's go to Netflix. Netflix was fighting a little bit for his life today too, right? So same type of deal. Break. This was our retest. We survived it. We survived it. We're trying to survive a retest right here on Netflix. What we need for Netflix, we need the candle wick to be touching here, right? We want the wick to be flipped upside down if we want to go bullish on Netflix. So once that wick starts touching here, we can expect Netflix to push up. That's what we're waiting on. Until then, you're probably not going to get a lot of push on Netflix. But also, what's happening is that a lot of moves to the upside right now are short-lived because the VIX is the volatility index. So when the VIX is high, like above 17, you expect short-lived bounces. They're dead cat bounces when the VIX is this high. All right. When the VIX is lower, around 15 and below, that's when your bounces actually follow through. Right now, when the VIX is high, selling pressure is going to give you the more momentum than the buying pressure. So remember that. Add that to your tool belt. Bitcoin has been getting beat to smithereens too. So We had a bear flag here on Bitcoin and we fell out of that thing and dropped. But look, same rules apply. Breakout, retest, we lost it, boom, we failed. Same rules apply. We just wait for the breakouts and the retest to follow through. Where does this go? A lot of people are asking where can Bitcoin go? So we got to go to a larger time frame so we can find us a demand zone. All right, right here we have this break of structure at 75. If we don't reclaim this break of structure at 75, we can very well come down to touch about 59.60 on Bitcoin. See if the weekly shows us even crazier on the weekly, right? Look at this. Head and shoulders playing out here on Bitcoin. We broke our trend line. Remember, we just talked about the other trend line that we've been respecting and that we've been bouncing. We didn't do that here on Bitcoin. This is a large time frame trend line, and we lost it. So this is very, very bearish here for Bitcoin because we lost this trend line here. We could even come down to 50. Will it happen? I don't know. But we could definitely come down to 50 just given all the space that we have here. We lost some very key structures here on Bitcoin, and I don't see anything right now that's screaming pull me back up. All right. So if we get any amount of additional selling pressure, this thing could definitely cave down to 50. If Bitcoin caves down to 50, man, start buying some, right? All key levels. That's what I tell people. Average in at key levels, right? Demand zones here, demand zones here, demand zones here. That's where you want to average in at those key levels. All right. Let's look at Nvidia. Nvidia has gotten beat up too. Jeez. All right. So here we are here. We're gonna draw this on the weekly. This is our trend right here on Nvidia. See that? Those touches, that's our trend line right now. But you can probably see within this trend line already, we got a shoulder here. We got a head here. We got a shoulder here. Nvidia, for dear life, has to hold on to this 175 level. If we lose this 175 level, we got 155. Let's see if we have a demand zone on the daily closer. All right, so 165 on the daily, 169 on the 1 hour. Yeah, we need Nvidia to survive here. All right, so we got a break here. We got our retest, right? We got a break here, pushed up. This is our retest. We need it to stay here. We need this to stay above this right here. As soon as this candle turns green, that's your entry, right? That's what you do on Nvidia. Unless you're pushing it out. Since we're at a decent level, you can push it out a little bit. But again, you got to be mindful of this dang on VIX. Apple has been the one that's been surviving all of this. Apple has been going bonkers, right? We had our consolidation here on Apple, and then this thing just broke out here and it remains breaking out. So we got our break here, right? Here's our retest. Let's see what happens here on Apple. This is our retest candle right here. If we lose this candle and we get a wick that touches against the red candle in a pull down, then we can start pulling Apple down to about 271. Wait for that, wait for this to flip, and we get a wick here on the supply zone, right? Because that's buyer exhaustion. We're pushed up now. We get a wick. That means buyers are getting exhausted. We're going to start pulling back down. That's what we're waiting for on those key levels. Break, retest, get the wick, exhaustion, go the opposite direction. Last one, Palantir. My goodness. Palantir, Palantir, Palantir. Palantir has not been having a good month so far. Let's go to a larger time frame and see what's happening here. All right. Thought we saw a double bottom. Did not. We lost it. This is why you wait for it to play out, right? Thought it had a double bottom here getting ready to play out. It did for a second, ran up for a little bit, but then that thing dropped out. So I guess if you would have got in here, you would have made your money here. But if you would have held too long, you would have got clapped. But now we got to see, does this come back above this 143? We need a like this. You see this wick here? We need this thing to get a wick up here, the body to start forming. Then we could get into a play to push this back up. But right now, Palantir is looking bad. It's super oversold though, which means a correction's due. There's definitely a correction due, but for right now, it's super oversold. So if you're going to risk anything on Palantir, push it out. Like if you're going to get into this play, push this thing out about 3 months and then expect some chop because we still have this level down here that it could come down to also. Me personally, I will wait until we at least reclaim this breaker structure and show us that there's some buyers really stepping in here at Palantir. Other than that, I wouldn't touch it. Let's go look at TGT. Oops, TGT. Target. Target's been performing well. Look at that. We had our pull down after that bear flag. Let's drop down to a lower time frame here. We had our pull down to this bear flag here on target, right? But look what happens when it reclaims. Wick at a demand zone, body form, we're out of there. This is where we jump into plays. We get this wick at these key levels, get a body forming, that's people rushing in with us, jump in, and then we're out of there. Now we got to look at this. We broke up, came back down to retest it, broke out again. Broke up, came back down to retest it, broke out again. Broke up, came back down to retest it. Now we see what happens here, right? Does this mug continue to push up or do we pull back down? But Target's been on a crazy run since 106. I love to see it. So since we're looking at Target, let's go look at some competition. Wally World out of there. Consolidation. Look at this consolidation. We broke above the demand zone right up in here. We came back down to touch this demand zone. Got a wick, pushed up. That's what we wait for. Retest, get a wick with some buyers stepping in with this, then we take off. Now what we're seeing here is at the top of this, we haven't gotten, well, there might be one on the lower time frame. Let's see if there's a supply zone already forming. Not quite yet. There we go, supply zone. All right, so now we're just waiting on the opposite to happen. We already got our break here, came down. The second candle was our retest, and we're pulling down here now. Now we got to see what happens. Do we stay here? Do we come back up and retouch this breaker structure and break through to go back up? Or if we come up and retouch this breaker structure level, this line here, and continue to pull back down to about 126 here. That's what we wait for now on Walmart. All right, so that's what I got for today. Again, we're respecting this on SPX. We're respecting it on SPY here, our trend line. So I think we'll continue to push up, especially if we get this thing to fall down some. Looks like it is giving us a little bearish breather here. So yeah, if this thing falls down some more, we'll see SPY push up even further, get back into those 690s. Catch y'all on the flip side. Holla.